Standing next to a new tool in the shop, which is always exciting. This is our new Shop Fox W1812 Molder. So we're in the middle of a big molding job. A builder that I work with came to me. He's working on a 120-year-old house. So he has 9 moldings for us to match up to. We're making them in white oak and poplar. So we want to show you the molding, the blanks that we're creating, that we're milling up, the knives, and how to use this molder. Promotional support for this episode is provided by Quick Screws. Since 1987, Quick Screws has been a leader in both quality and performance. With warehouses in California and South Carolina, Quick Screws can deliver anywhere in the U.S. within 4 days. Quick Screws' highly trained personnel are ready to get you the product you need when you need it. Find out more at quickscrews.com. If you watched our last episode, you probably saw all of this lumber waiting to get milled. So we have all of our material prepped now. It's all milled to the different sizes to correspond with these knives. So here's a selection of the knives. This, for example, goes with this blank. This big knife here goes with this blank. And that is going to make this. So a big chunky molding. Like I said, we're doing them in white oak and poplar. So this is so big that we actually need to run it on an angle. Otherwise, we're taking too big of a bite. And let us know if you want to see a video about that. That's a cool technique to run these through without having to take all of this in one cut. I get these knives from a gentleman, Neil, MT Tool Co. Neil is great. The way that I got these knives made is I actually took slices. So here are the molding samples that the builder brought me, some of them. And I took these slices, numbered them, and I scanned them. I scanned them at 300 DPI. And I send that to Neil, and then he goes ahead and makes the knives. So it's a great way to get custom knives. He never has to see the molding, and they're super accurate. I've done this a ton of times with Neil. And he's super fast, really reasonable pricing. He makes shaper knives as well. So some of these we're actually doing a 2-part process. It's one operation on the shaper and one operation on the molder. And one of them we actually made on the shaper only. So these are high-speed steel knives. And he water jets them and then grinds them. These right now are together with the wax. And then he also provides a sharpening guide. So if I need to send these back to Neil to be sharpened, he provides this acrylic guide, and he uses this on his machine. Or if you wanted to use a different sharpener, you could send this to them, and they could sharpen your knives back to the same profile, which is really nice. You know, it took us a couple days to get all this stuff milled. That's the bulk of the work. And now we really just run it through the molder. So it's a pretty simple process. We have a set of knives in there now, so let's show you how it works. Before we run a piece of molding, I want to show you around the machine a little bit. So it's a pretty simple machine. This is the main body of the machine, and we have this cover that we can pull off. So it's held in with this pin. And this is where our dust collection is attached. So it's just a metal shroud with a plastic piece on there. So essentially, look at that, we left a nice artifact in there. This is just a spinning cutter head. Better make sure that this is off. A spinning cutter head that has bolt holes where you can bolt in your knives. You can see this knife has 2 holes, this knife has 3 holes, this knife has 5 holes. So the larger your knife, the more holes you're going to use. And we can go up to about 7 inches on this machine. So really, that's going to cover you for most moldings. The way it works is there's a motor down inside of this cabinet. It's a 2-horsepower motor. And there's a pulley up here. You might be able to see that, John. We have a link belt there. So the motor spins, and it spins this cutter head. And then we have a separate motor here for the feed roller. So we have an in-feed roller and an out-feed roller. Right now, it came equipped with these sort of soft rubber rollers, but you can change them out for hard rollers. There's a bunch of different types of rollers you can use, and that's something I'll probably do is change over to a hard roller, but it's nice having this variable speed. So we're able to control the feed speed right here with this knob, and that allows you to take different types of cuts. So when we're running white oak, for example, on the finishing cut, we really want to slow it to a crawl because white oak likes to tear out, and we can get more cuts per inch if we're feeding slower. With the poplar, we're able to turn it up and work faster, but get, still get a good finished product. We have our height adjustment here. So we're not gonna move this because we already have it set for the pieces we're gonna show you to run, but you unlock it right here, and then you can turn this to adjust. It does have a fine adjustment here, so you can see how much you're moving, down to 1/64. Has the course readout here. So I said, we have the feed speed here, have your key, your e-stop, and your on. So pretty simple there. Before I put the cover back on and run the molding, I want to show you the guides here that came with the machine. So these are nice metal guides, and they fit into this T-slot here. We had to make a custom bed for this particular molding because you can see the lowest point of this guide is actually a little too high. We end up hitting the feed rollers here. So we made this custom bed. It's just a piece of 1/2-inch plywood with some 1/8 inch strips. We're running a very small molding, so we need to get the cutter head very close to the table. So this allows us to run a molding that finishes at 1/4 inch. But these are very handy. It's nice to have the T-slots. It makes setting it up super fast. The machine that we used to have didn't have any slots at all, and it was kind of a pain to get set up. So this adds a lot of flexibility, and you can always make these custom one-off beds if you need. Here's the molding we're gonna run, and this has already been run one pass. So we like to do at least 2 passes, one sort of roughing pass to get the profile into the piece, and then one cleanup pass. So this is a little bit thick right now. We ran all of our pieces, so we have our machine set up to a final pass, and but we have some blanks here. So these we're gonna run in one pass for you and see what it looks like. Probably won't be the best cut, but you'll get a good idea as to how it works. In poplar, it'll probably be pretty good. This machine makes a lot of chips, so we need to turn on our dust collector. You definitely need good dust collection for a molder. You can turn it on. First, you got to turn your key. This is a good example as to why we do 2 passes. We have some tear out here. This is a pretty minimal example, but the white oak especially is very prone to tear out when you're taking a heavy cut. So it's nice to do that cleanup pass, but we don't expect any tear out on these 2-pass ones. So we can actually run one of those and show you how that comes out as well. Here's a piece of molding that looks like it's already finished, but this is ready for its 2nd pass. We're gonna take off about a 64th. And that'll give us a nice clean finish, and we can run that feed nice and slow so we get a good number of cuts per inch. So again, we'll turn on our dust collector and get that fed in. So that is it's a glassy, smooth finish. I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but it's got a little bit of a shine to it, like it's been, like hand planed. Can't see any knife marks. We were running it very slow. I'm sure you could see and you could hear the difference from that first full depth pass. The cleanup pass really, really does a good job at getting a nice finished surface, which is crucial in hardwoods like oak. Poplar is not so bad, but the oak, you definitely need to go slow. So I've been very happy with this machine so far. I think it's a great value. It performs well. It has all the features of a more expensive machine. It's definitely solidly built. It weighs, I think about 400 pounds. It was pretty weighty. And it's got the nice cabinet that keeps everything hidden away. We put it on this mobile base so we can move it around the shop. If we have really long lengths, we can, position it, or we can store it away when we're not using it. It's also good to have a backup planer, or even if you want to set up 2 planers to run sort of an assembly line version of something, plane a face and then plane an edge. That's something I've thought about being able to use this for. So it's a really good machine. I would definitely recommend it if you're in the market for a molder. Making custom molding can be, definitely a good part of your business. Big shops charge a lot to set them up. They can run them faster and cheaper for themselves, but typically they're going to be more expensive for the person who's looking for molding. So if you can do short runs of custom moldings for clients, it's definitely a good niche to get into. So yeah, if you've ever had anyone ask you about molding, I say look into this machine and pick one up for yourself. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and you learned a few things about making your own custom molding. Let us know down below if you have any thoughts, and we'll talk to you next week.